also talking about the major policy developments and environments, and lastly going into issues that affect Kuwait, such as oil depletions. I thought we'd focus on that for a little bit. Also at the end of the class, towards the end of the class, the first part I'm going to do this lecture, and then I'd like to actually do exercise with you where you get into groups and start thinking about some ways to formulate policy regarding the environment. Okay? So the environmental movement's nothing entirely new here. It's been around since the 19th century. It started in Europe and the States around conservation, right? So folks are worried about actually preserving land that they have. They already started noticing there was too much growth, unchecked growth going on, and they wanted to start preserving natural resources, particularly natural parks, essentially. So the creation of national parks, which started in the United States in the early part of the 20th century, was spearheaded by these conservation movements. John Muir, David Henry Thoreau, and others were prolific writers about these movements. Moving forward a little bit into the 1940s and 50s, of course, we started thinking about, we had the Second World War, so we started thinking about nuclear power, nuclear weapons, and the testing of these nuclear weapons, of course, was taking place actively in the United States. Not just the United States, but also in their territories, right, in the Pacific. So, in the United States particularly, we had the states of Nevada and Arizona. There was nuclear testing going on, but also in the Marshall Islands, the South Pacific. So the fallout from these weapons started to raise concerns. I don't know if you've seen some of the images of this testing before, but essentially it's like a big mushroom cloud, we call it, and you see lots of bright lights, colorful lights. And so it's actually very attractive to watch, but also quite dangerous. And we know from the bombing of Hiroshima in 1945 that the fallout from those weapons actually did cause quite a bit of human harm, right? So the increase of cancer, leukemias, and other blood cancers skyrocketed in Japan since 1945, actually till today, right? So the effects of these nuclear weapons have an intergenerational effect that go on for decades, if not centuries. Then we move into the 1960s. There's more and more concern about chemical use. So there's a lot of synthetic chemicals that are being produced, mostly in the United States, but also in Europe, particularly in Germany, Italy. And you might be familiar with pesticides, which are used to kill insects, right? Of course, and there was growing concern that actually some of these pesticides, notably DDT, were actually harming human health as well, and harming the environment, including birds, in terms of their eggs, actually making the eggs more fragile. So, hi Faiza. So basically, this was growing concern, and in 1962, Rachel Carson, who's an American biologist, published a book called Silent Spring, which many people consider to be the catalyst